Hi, and
Hello.
welcome to whatever this is. We're back, and I have bad news. As you can tell, I'm back to drinking my artsy fartsy collab beer. My artsy fartsy IPAs number fives. And the reason I'm back to drinking my artsy fartsy collectible 8.2% alcoholic beers is because the Sun Split and the Paper Salesman that I was hoping to get, the new batch of it, were 100% sold out as part of their pre-sale. Means that the beer that I've been gorging on since the summer is now it's being sold out, just sold out, and then I can't have the beer that I want because it got too popular.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could say that it had
Sound like a
something to
hipster.
do. Something to do. No, well, look. Every time. That means they didn't squander this beer. They poured it actively and thoroughly into every place. But yeah, my beer is gone. It's gone. Now hipsters, now other hipsters are drinking up all of the beer that I want. And I may have contributed to it by literally sending it across the country to other hipsters to try and other beer snobs to try to such a degree where it was really bad. My buddy told me that it's really weird. He's meeting people who are now getting the beer that I've been sending him before like he gets it from me. He's like, he promises them the beer, and then I ship it to him, and then by the time he gets it, they're already like, oh, I already have that beer. And now I feel bad on the inside for not being able to provide him with a fantastic new flavorlicious experience that he can show off to other people and also trade them for fun beers. Yeah, but this means I have to now pre-order my beer online. Like, think about the world I'm living in right now, where I realize I have to pre-order my beer online ahead of time, in line with other people. And if I don't get there fast enough, it'll be all sold out. It'll just be sold out. And I won't get any of the beer I like. What has come to this world? What has become of this world? What have we done? We've made beer too delicious. Mm-hmm. They've always warned us that if alcohol was delicious, then people would start binge drinking and getting obsessed.
Patrick's Day, so.
Oh yes, this is our St. Patrick's Day podcast. Woo! We're not drinking green beer because green beer is gross beer. Mm-hmm. Normally, big companies add food coloring to their beer and make it green and still sell it as if it's green beer. Have you seen green hot dogs and green mayo? I've seen green mayo and green hot dogs being sold. Mm-hmm. That is not something I want to put into my body.
Mm-hmm. I've had green ketchup, though. It tastes the same.
To just add food coloring.
Yes. But I was on campus today, and all the undergradlings, they were all running around in their green hats with their four-leaf clovers, full of life and excitement. Gonna get wasted.
Only any of them even knew what St. Patrick's Day was all about.
Mm-hmm. And then they're gonna get wasted. And then have drunk sex, and then someone's gonna accuse somebody of rape, and it's just gonna be a whole mess.
It's the hashtag #MeToo holiday. It really is. It's a holiday where we all have socially acceptedly said we should all go get smashed, just smashed, and that's not good for the hashtag #MeToo culture.
Well, I mean, at least it's not like in actual Ireland where they're just smashed all the time. Because
I don't know. I've never been to Ireland.
I have, and
I can't tell how smashed they are.
They have. I mean, I could be exaggerating a little, but let's just say that I'm not. They literally have beer with their breakfast.
I've had at least 4 people in Ottawa tell me that they've done that once or twice. They pour beer into their cereal. Okay. Not only has this
No,
is this
that's probably not true.
okay. Do you know what's worse about this? Is that you don't. Okay, my buddy is sending me French Toast Crunch beer. French Toast Crunch beer. And I sent him, after, I think we've even had it on this podcast, Fruit Loops beer.
Yeah, but those are different than like.
No, they're not.
Although I don't know what craft beers are like in Ireland.
I saw the videos. I saw the videos of them pouring French Toast Crunch into the beer maker. There's just box after box after box of French Toast Crunch. I've also seen the videos of them doing the same thing with the Fruit Loops. Just the Fruit Loops brand cereal just being poured into the giant vats of beer. So you can say that it's gross to have beer with your cereal, but you've now tried cereal beer and have been okay with it.
Okay. I don't recall.
Why are you poking your face?
My cheeks hurt.
Why do your cheeks hurt?
I don't know. I think I keep biting my lip.
Cheek.
Anyway, I don't know. My jaw, not cheek. Like my jawline hurts. Anyway, yeah, no, Ireland. There's. Although that was prior. Like that was right after I finished high school or university. So I don't know what the craft beer brewery or the craft beers or these microbreweries will be like in Ireland, but I'm sure they'll be fucking awesome because they had some cool bars when I was there 10 years ago. We should take a trip. I think you would like Ireland. I think that would be one of those places where you would just be like, huh, this is my kind of place.
It would be my kind of place if there was jobs there.
Oh, no, for vacation, to travel, to see the hills and the cliffs and the landscape. Ireland's gorgeous.
Guys, let's go look at the hills. Let's travel across the world to go look at Irish hills.
You don't understand how much traveling, like, enriches life.
It exhilarates you.
You've never tried it, so how would you know?
I've taken a bus trip before.
That's not the same thing.
I've literally sat on a bus.
That's
and
not
hated
the
it.
same thing as seeing the
Being
Colosseum
trapped,
or being on ancient grounds.
The traveling is the thing that I have an issue with. The traveling. The sitting in your seat next to people trapped for long durations of time.
Yeah, that's
while also
hard.
completely disconnected from the world you know.
God forbid you have to live without your freaking internet and computer for 5 to 10 hours.
I know, right? It
Except
should
now
be
they
against
have
the Geneva
Wi-Fi
Convention.
on them, and you can turn on, yeah.
But that's how they spy on you and steal your nudes.
And you watch movies.
Speaking of garbage, sorry, most airline movies are garbage. Put your phone away.
Sorry,
We're
everyone's
podcasting.
complaining because of our class.
I don't know. I don't know about nothing about the class. Speaking of garbage, have we talked about this? Mark Zuckerberg wants your nudes.
I feel like we have.
Mark
we can talk about it.
running for president Zuckerberg.
Is that for real?
That's for real. That's for real.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg. Mark running for president Zuckerberg live on a closed off, heavy security island of people
who's
around
out
them.
to get Mark Zuckerberg? Why does he need security?
Have you ever seen the photos of like Mark Zuckerberg and him trying to act human?
Apparently, he has a shitty ass car and is
He
one
doesn't
of
need
those
a car.
rich
He doesn't
people
need a
like
car.
Bill Gates who pretends to not be rich by
No.
living.
He doesn't know how to live. He doesn't know how people live. He lives in a fortress compound surrounded by people that work for him. This is how he got the idea to run for president, because he has a giant building that is security system secured, where the living quarters of the Facebook employees are all attached to it, and you don't need to leave the building for anything. The food gets delivered there and everything. And he has this giant compound Mark Zuckerberg runs and owns, and it only works towards Facebook. So he lives in the ultimate echo chamber, and literally all the information news he gets is filtered by other people around him. And he's like, Trump probably shouldn't be president. But you know what? Who can be president? I think I can be president. Also, people, send me your nudes. There's nothing concerning about the fact that he wants all your nudes. Nothing.
Well,
Don't worry about
he wants
it.
them to protect you from your nudes.
I
Or
remember.
protect others.
I remember.
You from others. Your nudes from others. To protect your nudes from others.
To protect your nudes from others, what you have to do is you have to upload your nudes to Facebook. And that's what you have to do. Isn't that weird? Isn't that more that weird doublethink where to protect yourself, what you have to do is take all your nude photos and send them to a random stranger on the internet, on a social media
But
platform.
that you can trust that random stranger because he has authority, and therefore, there you go. Do you ever like wonder if the future might be like, you know how there's like socialism and like government socialism? What if like the future is like corporate socialism where everybody just works for like just the way that you live in Facebook and you sleep at Facebook and all your friends are at Facebook and you just exist to be a Facebook employee, and then like that's what like starts happening, and then just people just are become like a part of their as lost in their companies that they work for.
Yes, this is why we need guns to prevent that future from ever happening.
But like could like corporate socialism be a thing where like you just like the way that you would run a community, you'd run a work.
That's okay. The word you're looking for is not socialism. It is corporate slavery, and it is corporate voluntary slavery.
Well, the same way that socialism is voluntary slavery, where people think they will.
I don't think I've actually ever heard that before. But let's go with it. Why not?
But the idea of like the centralized living. But instead of the government being the like head that like controls everything, it's just the corporation.
Slavery. That's what black people were.
No, but they still.
They worked in a corporation where they would be giving housing, food, and medical care within that corporation, and all they had to do was keep that corporation running by doing all the work. It was called slavery.
Yeah, but they get houses and
yes, I know.
And
Isn't
they can have their
wonderful?
families, but then their families will go to the corporate daycare and learn.
They did that
in the corporate school.
They did that already. Literal slavery.
Okay.
That's the kid. Okay, maybe the kids didn't go to school. The kids were just taught how to harvest cotton better. But there was a few children that were privileged. They get to go to the main house, to the corporate head office, and hang out there, and occasionally fornicate with other people.
I'm just saying, like with these growing companies like Disney and Amazon, like all of them are just owning everything, and then soon, like we'll just like Disney employees and Disney people will just be living
enslaved. You just use the correct term.
I don't think it's not the same thing. It'll be like social, like it would be like communism, but
communism is slavery.
But
if you can't leave, every communist leader has done one thing: prevented its people from leaving the communist.
But maybe no. But you can leave and go to another corporation.
But you can't.
Like if you don't like being at Amazon, you can leave and go to Facebook.
You can't. The corporations make you sign non-disclosure and non-disclosure and non-compete, which means that if you finish doing your job at Facebook, you cannot go work for another social media platform or another tech company within that same field for a certain amount of years. So literally, you can't just get up and leave. Corporations already have something in place for that.
Well, I don't know. I just wonder what the direction of
corporate slavery is.
You think that's actually going to be like a thing that could happen?
We already have debt slavery, and the corporations that own the debt are like Visa and your local bank. And the fact is, you worked your entire life to pay a debt off that you were promised, and then you just do. People just take their debt, and then they're like, I'll pay it off. And if you don't, my kids will pay it off. But you spend your entire life paying off a debt that you're just going to keep raking up because because everyone lives above their means, presumably.
Well, now you just sound like a leftist.
Well, that's maybe a leftist talking point, but that doesn't make it any less true. I was a leftist for a very long time. I do know how this works.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes back to the difference between like actual free market capitalism and what now would be described, according to Paul Joseph Watson and some others, as corporatism, where it's like government and corporations in line with each other, screwing over everybody.
Hold on. Let's slow this down for a moment. Would you prefer in a world where debt wasn't a thing, and therefore would you only lived within the means that you had, never being able to escape to the what is that thing called? When you transfer over to the next class, Upwards mobility. You would never have upwards mobility because people would be stuck running their businesses just to make ends meet, never being able to borrow enough money to get a leg up on the situation. Like me and you will never be able to own a house. Probably. Never. We'll never have enough money to preposition. We'll never have enough money in our bank accounts to flat out pay the entirety of a house off in one financial transaction.
Most people get mortgages.
So what most people do is they go into debt. That puts you into a debt slavery situation because you are forced to pay off. Well, this is also Canada where you are free to walk away from your mortgage whenever the hell you want with no repercussions. You literally walk into the bank and throw the keys at them.
Yeah, except that you've lost like the property that you've been paying for all this time.
No, but you're paying for it, and if you're not able to pay for it, then you could try to sell it, and if you can't sell it, then you just give the keys back to. Here's the difference between America and Canada. If in America they take your house, but you still owe the money. In Canada, they take your house and you don't owe anything.
Yeah.
So we are able to borrow money to go into debt, but also return the debt when we need to. And this is also why governments have bankruptcy, because some people take on too much debt trying to escape the gravitational pull of the impoverished class.
Yeah.
Some people succeed, a lot of people succeed, and some people don't. And when they fall back down, the government goes, at least you tried.
Yeah, well, most people who go declare bankruptcy is when they tried a business, right? So I don't think any government, if they're a good government, would want to discourage people from trying out and moving forward with a business.
Right. I have, speaking of in trying out new businesses, today, I'm actually in a little bit of pain. I didn't realize how out of shape I got and how quickly from not doing my framing job anymore, but I will get my power back. I went back because it's St. Patrick's Day and it's a Saturday, so I did work today and I will work tomorrow, which means I'm now working 7 days a week at 2 different jobs.
Well, you haven't been.
I now am.
Okay.
Now, officially, because I'm going back to tomorrow and any other day where I'm not going to be working.
Okay.
So now I'm just going to be busting my ass to pay off my debts.
Yes. Yes.
I know, isn't it? And I am now building the offices and the crew quarters of Canada's biggest grow up. That's where I am right now. We're not doing the electrical work. We're just doing the framing. We're building the bathrooms, the offices, everything. Just the bare bones framing for the most part. But it is Canada's largest grow up. I think they said by the time this project is done, there will be 1 million acres of grow up, which purely marijuana growing. Right now they have marijuana ready to go in, and then the other side they have pickles. And apparently that farm provides like 65% of all Canadian pickles, which means they're no longer going to be creating pickles. They're going to be creating marijuana.
Wait, no, can't you do both? Why sacrifice one?
When one makes you a fuck ton of money and the other one is pickles.
Not the pickles.
Well, they're not. It's not like someone else isn't going to pick up the slack.
That's true.
And they can always return to pickles once the marijuana fails.
I will single-handedly keep the pickle market open.
Yes, you will do that. But I find it interesting because I'm hanging out with the people who are literally building it. And they're going over the project of like how big it is and how much money is going into it, and it's the guys that own the place. Not a single one of them is Canadian.
Well, yeah, because other immigrants know that you come here and start business.
Not only are they not Canadian, but I mean not Canadian. They're darker Eastern European, which is the weirder part of Eastern Europe that most people don't talk about when they talk about the white nations or whatever the fuck they talk about. But oh my god. Fundamental values to the core. I had several discussions with them about what's going on in today's society, and they're not for any of it. None of it. They're like, this all happened because we moved away from religion, and all of them are wearing big golden goddamn crosses. This is that Eastern Europe where they're like, everyone here is degenerate.
Why is moderation and middle ground so hard for people?
Well, remember when it was Bill Burr that said, was it the masturbating guy? Louis C.K. That's it. Louis C.K. It said, think about it, because to the Christians, you're literally killing babies. Like, you're literally
Yeah,
killing babies.
abortions,
To
yeah.
the rest of us, it's like, I get it. For some people, it's like a weekend. You go on a bender, you got knocked
think
up
you're
by a couple of
murdering
people.
babies.
Yeah. You take a few pills, you got fucked by a bunch of people. And then you wake up and you're like, I kind of feel like I'm pregnant. I'm gonna go do that the government sponsored operation to remove my insides.
I'm like, I don't. Where are these people? Because I don't know.
I
any
know
of
them. I know. We'll meet them one day. We will talk about them, and you will see how frustrating it is to know people like this.
Okay, well, they're few and far between. Most women do not celebrate an abortion.
I'm not talking about celebrating an abortion. I'm talking about literally using it as a government service. Like, oh yeah, it's happened. It happened. It probably will happen. It'll probably happen again.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, the abortion thing was
But no.
out of nowhere. I'm talking about moving away from
Literally
religion.
killing babies in the eyes of the Christians. Literally killing babies. Literally performing all the things that God said not to do. And I think God was right. We probably shouldn't be doing a lot of those things.
Some of those things.
A lot of those things. A lot of those things probably shouldn't be done. But a lot of the things said in the Bible should also not be done.
Mm-hmm.
Like the slavery or the massacre or the turning cities into pillars of ice or some bullshit like that. I don't know what the fuck he did. God cast a spell. People turned into pillars of ice. Or no, people turned into pillars of salt. Cities disappeared. Nuclear explosions. The Horn of Jericho. Someone blew a horn. Fucking an entire city collapsed. I'm like, fantasy? Fine.
Also,
but
like the institutionalized church owning everything and land and property and ruling you, like all of that stuff.
Well, that's why all true religion at this point seems to come from inside directly, which is why there's 35,000 different, at least 35,000 different denominations of Christianity in America alone, because everyone has a say about how you run a religion.
Exactly, because everyone has a personal.
Only
way.
more people could read. There's a book. You read the fucking book, guys. Just read the goddamn book. It's all in there. All the stories, all the rules. Did you guys know? Does anyone know? Does anyone know how many rules there are in the First Testament and how many there are in the Second? There's like 900 rules you're supposed to follow. I bought you the book, Living Biblically. You're supposed to read it. You're supposed to read it years ago, and you didn't.
I guess I will. I haven't had time.
I guess book plug for those of you who give a shit. Maybe that's the book they should read for fucking book club, not some garbage Ayn Rand crap.
Why is it in Ayn Rand garbage?
I don't know. Well, what has she ever done for me?
She's actually a pretty, like, avid. She?
I don't know.
She.
I never could tell.
She's a she.
You say she's a she.
I'm pretty sure she's a she.
Anyway, point is that I forgot
How
what the
we
point
get
of
to
Ayn Rand
abortion
was.
though? Your coworker has had all crosses around, or sorry, the people that were building the.
Okay? I was talking about my semi-religious employers, and you said something.
Why is there no moderation?
Yeah, why is there
like,
no
why do you have
moderation?
to be extremely religious or
Well,
no religion at all? Why
see,
can't people just be like?
That's how we
okay.
got to abortion, because some people believe abortion is killing babies, and some people they have it as part of a weekend ritual.
Okay, but I don't think you have to be religious to be against abortion.
You don't, but it helps. Religion has morality, and
Humans.
no, they don't.
Yes, they
No,
do.
they really don't.
There's evolutionary.
I've met way too many humans that don't have any morality.
Yeah, those are like the 1 to 4% that are sociopaths.
No,
and or psychopaths.
no. I've on a regular basis, I talk to people, and then we get on the subject of morality, and they claim that they have the right morality, and it's based in nothing.
Did religion not evolve from humans, and therefore,
Okay.
if humans evolved,
See,
religion
that's
to
your
be-
postmodernism talking. That's a
If
direct
humans
postmodernism
created
talking.
religion, that means humans created morality. Means humans
Hmm.
could come up with morality.
Humans could, but don't.
They did when they made up religion.
Okay, but that's the whole point of the religion. It's to live within the religious laws because something backs them up. If you just have rules, like how many people do you know they're like, I'm gonna go on a diet, and then like fucking 2 days later they're like, I'm gonna eat a chocolate piece of cake, and you go, but I thought you were on a diet. And they go, I'll make an exception. What do they call it, cheat days?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking cheat days. I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want because nothing I say or do it means anything.
Well, it depends on what your goal is. I think, like, yeah, eating healthy and then having days where you don't eat
Okay,
healthy is.
clearly the point of my eating fucking chocolate cake is not what do you call it? It's not convincing because it's not a life or death circumstance. Obviously, cheating people are like, cheating on cake is like meh, whatever. Cheating on your wife is also pretty acceptable in today's society. People just want to go sleep with other people anyway, and since morality slipped so much in today's society, we already see a cuckoldry culture, which is what I really want to talk about
Okay.
today.
That's again, human morality has evolved because humans need to coexist with each other and
But
care about
nobody
each other.
follows their morality.
But that's not true. People are follow their morality 99% of the time. It's just the assholes who don't ruin it for everybody.
I would like to agree with you on that, but people don't follow their morality because they don't have a morality.
Okay, there's
No, no,
certain
no. There's no set morality. Like the Bible or the Torah or Islam or any of the other religions will have a set morality, and they go, "Here's what you do." And there will be charlatans out there that come and open up a tent church in your backyard and go, "Ha ha ha! Let me sell you this snake juice where
so
Jesus loved gays,"
we
and you
have
go, "That never happened. That never happened. That Jesus never loved gays."
so we have laws and the government writes them out and it tells everybody all the things that they can't do or else they'll go to jail.
Okay, but that's not morality. That's government imposed.
Why?
Oh, wait, we already
Why
talked.
is it wrong to kill then?
Why do so many people smoke weed when it's illegal?
Because it's a personal choice that's not
No,
harming
you see, so
anybody.
you're presenting governmental laws as a sort of scripture to dictate morality when everyone ignores that morality and just does whatever
Well,
they want.
again-
When you're not supposed to speed, but everyone speeds. You're not supposed to murder people, but people murder people. You're not supposed to smoke pot, but you smoke pot anyway.
And lots of people do that in their religion anyways. They claim that they follow their religion and then they break all the rules anyway.
Well, no, those are the charlatans I just mentioned. Like the Amish claim to follow their religion, and then they follow their religion living away from everybody else in enclosed out communities with no electricity. The Mormons do the same thing. They try and keep to themselves and get the hell away from society. But they're just really successful. That was the weird part. The Mormons are just really successful.
So
Like,
you want to go live like the Amish and the
I
Mormons?
don't want to. Well, look, I would like to go live like the Amish and the Mormons, but with electricity and internet.
Then you don't want to go live like the Amish and you just want a patch of land where you can be alone with your electricity and internet.
But like they take God's law and they follow it. They marry and they stay married. They have kids, they procreate, they work hard, and then they take pride in what they do. How many people
Most
live
people
like that?
do that. 99% of the people do that. Most people get married, have children, go to their jobs, love their kids, don't kill people, don't murder people, don't
Most people do not love their jobs. That's why, on average, Canadians change careers 7 times throughout their lifetime. Most people do not love their children, which is why there's so many children that go completely unloved in adoption agencies, in abortion
That's a small proportion
in
of the actual
abortion
population.
clinics, and so many, just
Okay.
so many
Yes,
of them
everyone's just miserable
are so
and
neglected that they have to go shoot up schools.
nobody's happy, and because we have no religion, we're just all miserable. That's
I don't think
it.
we're all miserable because we don't have religion. I'm not particularly miserable because I don't have religion in my life, but I know my mom is much happier because she has religion in her life. Like that video she asked us to watch yesterday
on the Illuminati.
on everything, on everything. I wish I could take clips from that video that like puts me to shame. The guy's sitting there making things up whenever the fuck he wants. Like Mercury's in retrograde, which means the Illuminati are going to push forth a new conquest goal, and part of that conquest goal is to empower the debt slaves into self-realizing and creating a properly functioning healthcare society where we can unilaterally fucking do whatever the fuck we want. And you're like, what? What levels of insanity are you on? Because I can only get onto like 3 or 4 of them at a time. The rest of what you're doing over there is batshit crazy. Like, I think one of the things he insinuated was that is the Illuminati who set up this new social justice warrior scenario for everyone to to get together and start pushing these agendas through socialist media. And I'm gonna call social media socialist media from now on. That's just my thing for them. They're no longer anything other than socialist medias. So wait, I'm gonna put a big Russian thing on it. The hammer and sickle on top of this, on the top of the thumbnail of this video. You guys are gonna love it. Siggy will now be selling socialist abortion T-shirts. It'll be great, and to do the 100 monkey experiment thing. When like enough people. Do you remember the 100?
I have no idea. What you just switched like 7 different topics.
It's okay. Look, there's a presumed experiment by the cryptozoologists or whatever the fuck. What are they called?
Are you going manic? Are you having like a manic episode?
Like 3 days ago. Yeah. Okay. So the people talk about this one experiment where if you teach 100 monkeys to wash their hands, that same new skill will spread simultaneously through some magical fucking minefield to all the monkeys in the world of the same species. It's the 100 monkey effect or some shit like that. You can look it up. I'm not making this up. And what they said was the Illuminati put forth a plan to create one giant socialist utopic world for all of us to be pushed into by falsely creating the most hardcore social justice warriors, and enough of them to reach that pinnacle point where the rest of the people that are idiots in society will follow along, creating a massive snowball effect of like really harshly pushing that what do you call it? The Overton window, to just shove the Overton window in one direction to such a degree where like to go anywhere near where right was anymore is no longer acceptable, and therefore we're moving towards a global what do you call it? A global socialist
New
state.
World Order?
Well, yeah, that's obviously. Yeah, towards the New World Order, guys. Because that's what the Illuminati have been working on.
Aren't they a highly religious institution?
The New World Order?
The Illuminati?
No, the Freemasons are. No, the Illuminati, no, not at all. They're not even the same people.
The Freemasons and the Illuminati are not in cahoots?
No, the Freemasons are very religion based. In fact, every interview I've had, every conversation I've had with Freemasons, they've all said one point into getting into the Freemasons is that you have to believe in God. I don't care which one, as long as you believe in God. That's how you get in. The Illuminati, on the other hand, look like they're financial figureheads or people with a fuck ton of money who do all kinds of different stuff with their money. Means nothing about their religious beliefs, except for the fact that they're probably Satanists.
Right.
Or Luciferian, to be more correct. But I'm pretty sure that the Freemasons are also very Luciferian. It's hard. It's not satanic. Luciferian is not satanic. Luciferian is like knowledge acquiring without really caring what that knowledge does, while satanic is more like drinking the blood of infants to stay young forever, or at least live forever. David Rockefeller, we're looking at you. How many heart transplants did that guy have? 9?
idea.
How many infant fucking hearts did he eat? It looks like he just gets IV of children blood into him. Just put in daily, just so he can stay alive. Just keep his riches. If there was a Dracula, it would be him. Anyway, my point was porn. Porn and cuckoldry. I think I touched upon this the other day. And by touched upon, I mean something touched my brain, and I went, yes, okay, I understand. While we were talking about Zimbardo, or what's his name? Zimbardo?
Yeah.
Yeah. I started thinking about porn quite a bit, and especially that fact that he brought up that 6-year-old watch porn. 6-year-olds watch porn now. How old?
Well, he
How much
says
porn?
that there is, maybe I should have brought my notes. Something about ages from 6 to 13 are watching on average 2.5 or some amount of number of hours per week, and the age range starts from 6 to going to 13.
Right.
So
So we now know
There are
that
6-year-olds, in fact, that have access, and there's not all 6-year-old. Hashtag not all, but there are in fact 6-year-olds that are watching porn.
yes, and he brought that up, which made me think about porn. Not 6-year-olds, just porn. And I got to thinking, and a lot of us are talking shit about cuckoldry, and I am too. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to feel like there's a logical relevance to cuckoldry becoming a thing in today's society. Now, I ran you through this the other day, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to run our audience through it. Maybe make a separate video for those of us who give a shit. A lot of people grew up with their sexual fantasies, sexually preferred women. They have them. I know quite a few kids that have kids, teenagers, mid 20s people who have that one porn star that they like love, and they watch all of her stuff and they follow her on Twitter and they're like, I really
For
like
real?
this porn. Yeah, yeah, for real.
So that whole thing of falling in love with strippers and porn stars, that actually happens?
Yes, but
Oh, poor men.
the interesting thing is that they
See,
watch
just one thing
and they
for
associate. Go ahead.
just that for all the women out there who are like, oh, men call women whores and hoes and nothing. There's men out there who fall in love with those hoes and whores
No,
and want them
you're
for
not getting it.
themselves.
We love the hoes and whores. We love them. They give us everything we want. We want you when we call you a whore. We just want you to give us what we want. It's our
And
way
then,
of showing affection.
excuse, right, showing affection.
Whore. So I think it's interesting that a lot of people grow up with their porn stars and they never get to do the porn star, but they always watch the porn star be pleasured by other people. They develop an emotional connection with the porn star and then watch her get railed by guy after guy after guy after guy. Now, we all know that the people try to date within their sexual preferences if they're capable of it, of course. If you're 400 pounds, but you like a Victoria's Secret model, that's probably not going to happen. But people try to date within their sexual preferences, and yeah, I think that at some point you have sex with a woman, and then you want more, you want more. But a large portion of your sexual and psychological development has literally revolved around watching the woman you're sexually interested in get pleasured by other men.
But aren't you imagining yourself as the man who is
That's
pleasuring
why
her?
cuckoldry is also accompanied by the guy sitting there watching and masturbating.
But if he could just do it
That
himself.
no. Cuckoldry is normally associated with the guy sitting around and watching. Even the Rick and Morty episode. Remember where the guy let his wife get fucked by a black guy, and he would like to hide in the closet masturbating, just watching, as if they don't even know he's there. That is directly pornography. That is the act of watching pornography. It just so happens to now include somebody you love and care for.
But in the porn star and the whore in the video that you're watching is not someone you love and care for.
No, but you always develop an association, a like, a care. This is where your sexual preferences. This is now where sexual preferences are going to arise from. You are going to get exposed to a lot of porn stars, a lot of nude celebrities, a lot of people who strip on Instagram, a lot of people who strip on YouTube, a lot of people not YouTube, on Twitter, on wherever. And you're going to get exposed to it. And a lot of people start to find niches that they like. And then within those niches, they find porn stars they like. And those porn stars start to represent their ideal mate. That's just...
Really, though? Like, porn stars would represent ideal mates?
For some people, yes. For some people, no.
I always thought guys make a clear distinction between the type of girls they want to fuck and the type of girl they
But
want to marry.
men are primarily visual. Primarily visual. There's the woman you want to take home. There's the woman... We want to treat our women like princesses, but we want them to treat us like they're whores. You understand how the sexual aspect of it needs to be as slutty as possible, as whorish as possible. But
then doesn't that
outside
mean-
of the bedroom, we want them to be princesses who are...
But then if she's a slut in the bedroom, doesn't that mean she's been a slut for other people? Oh, yeah, but then I guess you don't mind that she's been a slut for other people if you're a cuck.
If you're a cuck, you don't care. But up to this point now, where 6-year-olds are developing their sexual feelings to pornography, like I may have been a little too late for it because I didn't have access to the internet and pornography until I was maybe 14, 15, 16 when I started to get into it. When the internet started to develop high speed and there was more websites. But like I am seeing it now. I know what they're talking about. I know where it is. You've done a bunch of research on it with the amateur pornography now being at all-time high. We already did our
Yeah.
pornography thing
Yeah.
search. We now see that.
But now also like incest, but that could be like Game of Thrones related or something. But like
Well,
incest,
exposure.
or like stepsister, stepbrother. That's the idea of like the forbidden. It's so wrong. You're not supposed to do it.
That's
so
the
that
whole
makes
point. This is the
sense.
postmodernist world we live in. The morality has gone thrown out the window. Now people are interested in looking and trying to explore the idea of having sex with their mom, their sister, their
People
dog.
have been breaking those rules for a long time.
People
Making
people that have
convention.
been breaking those rules for a long time have been shunned in societies. Now there's
And
entire
incest
group.
has been shunned in society throughout history. Are you kidding?
Okay. Recent history. How's that? How about
Okay.
that? How about 1400 fucking 1400s? Maybe
Not
no,
even.
not even.
Dude, in their developing world, cousins are still marrying each other. What are you talking
Yeah, but you're
about?
from the Middle East. That's
I
what happens
know,
over
not
there.
even in just the Middle East, in other areas too.
I'm sure there's a large field of. Okay,
I don't know
fine,
what it's
fine,
like in
fine,
like
fine.
China, but
I'll rephrase.
also
No,
sexual
I'm not gonna
perversion
rephrase.
has
Hold on.
always existed. People
I'm
breaking
not gonna
rules has
rephrase.
always existed.
Breaking rules has always been a thing, but
Doing the wrong, the sin.
exploring the context, exploring the idea of fucking your own sister didn't exist previously with shared experiences from other people until you tried to fuck your own sister. Until you tried to court your own sister. And if she was into it, then you probably would
Well,
end up
it's
marrying her.
usually steps-
Now there's entire communities around it. There's websites, there's groups. There's support and
Okay, I'm really, really, really sure I will say this very safely that fucking your sister is your actual biological sister is a less common thing in today in 2016 or whatever year it is, 2018, than it was 100 years ago and 100 years ago before that and 100 years ago before that.
socially acceptable or happening. Because I
It's
see
not socially acceptable.
I see communities arising around people who think it's okay.
There's communities that also think that they're spaghetti monsters. Like,
You
just
clearly
because idiots exist and we have a higher
My
population
point-
on the planet, so there's gonna be more
my
idiots.
point is that now there's communities and acceptance for weirdos in all facets of the world. In all facets of the world.
Those weirdos only always existed. Now they
But
just
they
have the
existed
internet.
alone. That's my point. That's
Okay, so should
literally
we
my
take the
point.
way of the internet just because weirdos are using it to get together?
No, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm pointing it out. And what I'm pointing out is specifically like the cuckoldry thing. How it's developed and how much worse it's going to get now that we know 6-year-olds are watching porn. And how cuckoldry is like a third level above regular pornography. Cuckoldry creates the notion that you can watch porn but have someone like people. Okay, so the existence of porn created us amateur porn where people want to make their own porn, right? So people went, hey, I can make my own porn. The existence of cuckoldry porn is like it's like an Inception version of it. It's been like, why make my own porn when I can watch my significant other get fucked and masturbate to it? But now, it'll go to like brand new levels. It'll be like, why do I like? I don't know. I don't know what new levels of degeneracy we can reach at this point with all these new facets. But just be very aware that the new generation is going to grow up hypersexualized, and I do mean hypersexualized.
Wow.
You say well.
Some of the statistics show that teenagers are actually having less sex. In fact, porn might actually be having the opposite effect of that and completely making people numb and desensitized to sex and needing a lot more excitement and messed upness to get going, which might actually be leading to what's happening in the cuckold, as opposed to just because now you've seen it all and you're just like, you need more to get off. And so in fact, people are becoming a little bit less interested in actual sex because
or actual relationships or any intimacy whatsoever,
Right.
and prefer to stay within the porn dynamic of I'm just either going to have sex with you or watch you have sex with something.
Right. And one of the things that we didn't talk about in the previous podcast that Zimbardo was going to bring up was that one of the things is when you have kids watching porn, and then you don't have parents and older siblings or schools or anyone really having real conversations about sex and how you go about that, this also leads to some of the confusion and sexual assault incidents that keep happening more and more, because now boys and girls are learning that sex is what they see on porn, and there's nothing about the emotional and the relationship and the intimacy, and they're not getting that from their parents, they're not getting that from their older siblings, because now kids are only child mostly, so if they even have siblings to learn from, that's going down. And schools are like saying that sex is a social construct. I got really lucky. I had a really good school. I got good sex ed. They taught us biology. They showed us the anatomy. They explained to us like what periods are. They showed us the men. They did all of that stuff, and they were still taught us abstinence first. They said the only way to prevent STDs in pregnancy is to have no sex. But they also said, but if you're going to, this is how you do it safely, and make sure you get tested. And I used those rules. Did I not use those rules when I got with you?
Nope.
Like, exactly.
Nope.
So, you know what I mean? Like that I wasn't going to get that from my parents. I wasn't. Was not going to happen in my household. So I don't know about this whole conversation about sex ed in schools, but I got that when I was in grade 9 and at the age of 15. I think that was a good 14, 15. That was a good time. I don't know about 8, 12, like again. So these are other nuance. Maybe we should have another podcast about sex ed in schools and stuff like that. But
I'm not a sex ed in schools type of guy. I'm not. I don't even know how to breach most of these subjects.
well, like,
with kids, without kids, around kids, not around kids.
but that's the thing. But so kids under the age of 10, 12, 11 are learning about sex from porn. And then even when they like a girl, God knows, like, if that's what they think, that's how you treat a girl in porn. Maybe that's one of the reasons that there's a lot of, I don't know, uncomfortableness and problems in the hookup world, and a lot of these like Me Too hashtag, because men and women don't know how to set boundaries because nobody's taught us.
I think the only thing they're teaching us is how to set boundaries without reaching any kind of emotional structure to our feelings or our sexual contact, which is clearly why a lot of people feel betrayed after the sex that they have.
I don't know, but you don't think it's a problem that people are like growing up, porn is where you learn about sex? Like, is that a good place to be learning about sex, do you think?
Is it a good place to be learning about sex? No, of course not. But porn is clearly fake for the most part. It is clearly not real, and it literally, as the Zimbardo said, it caters to the boys' fantasy fulfillment. It is something where you go to deliver a pizza, and then she instantly drops her fucking blanket and sucks your dick, and then lets you fuck her in the ass as she eats the pizza.
Right, but doesn't that also say that that's what you should desire for sex, as opposed to like?
It doesn't say you should desire for it, but I'm hearing more and more stories from
And you
people I'm working with about things similar to that actually happening.
Yeah, well, don't you think women are also learning about sex from porn, and they're saying, okay, if this is what boys want, then this is how I should act? If they want, girls will want
to
boys
be controlled. Oh yeah, okay.
Girls want attention from guys. It's just gonna happen, and vice versa, especially when you're a teenager.
Well,
and if that's
just become a feminist and fucking inject yourself with male growth hormone, then you can just be the female you want to be, and not attract boys and not care about what boys think. Maybe become one of the boys so you can get
Well,
all the
that's
attention.
biologically impossible. You will want to attract boys and you will want to care what boys think, but you also don't want those boys to, right? So like, so girls are learning that like if they want boys to like them, they have to act like porn stars.
Yes.
And boys only like the girls who act like porn stars. And then later they grow up and be like, no, she's a whore. I don't want to marry her. So fuck.
If you sucked a million dicks by the time you got out of high school, what are you achieving in life?
But what if the only way to get a boy to like you, and that's the only way you can understand that that's how you get attention from a boy?
Then you had shitty upbringing. Probably come from a lower class, poor family where your parents didn't give a shit about you.
Exactly. So it goes back to where you learn about
That's probably
sex and how
why
you
you
should
spend
behave.
too much time on porn websites as opposed to at the dinner table.
Okay, fair statement.
So people, just like last podcast, have dinner with your kids.
We haven't released the last podcast yet.
I will tonight. Tonight. I'm going to release both of these back to back. So you guys will have plenty of crap to watch while I work my ass off tomorrow.
But I don't know. I'm just saying that like maybe some of the issue, although like obviously like these Harvey Weinstein, these are like old news, and like this
How's
stuff.
it old? It's this
Like
year.
these are things that I mean, like these are things that have happened in the past, right? And so like all of this like past patriarchal rape culture stuff, where men used to think that women should stay home and wash dishes, and if they spoke out of turn, you should slap them, like 50s shit or something that nobody thinks anymore. So like but
I don't think people thought that in the 50s.
well, there's still those types of people exist who think those things.
Here's my question. Did that actually exist? Or is it now a meme that we assume it exists? No, I'm sorry. Is it a meme and we assume that it existed? Like, I've seen some old newspaper ads where it tells you to spank your woman for not buying you the right type of beer. And I'm questioning whether it's actual patriarchal thing where they actually demand that you slap your woman on the butt like a child when she doesn't buy you a beer, or if it's a funny, quirky thing. Because I know the feminists will say that is patriarchy rape culture, telling you to slap your woman and beat her on the butt, gratifying your sexual needs and desires while also punishing her and making her feel really uncomfortable. Well, I think it's a beer ad and it's meant for for stupid fucking things.
Okay, but there was
No. I want to know where the evidence of this is.
Well, there's still certain cultures that do those things, and previous cultures have done it in the past, and then we've changed through time.
Again, I understand that Islam doesn't respect women.
But no, it's not respect. No, I don't even think that it's about respect. Men and women, it's just about, God forbid I say this, but it's about role. Like, I don't think women have been treated the way, like, black people have been treated in history. Like, you can't equate like the treatment of women in history to the treatment of like black people in America.
Black women too.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, men, women, there was certain roles that both parties had to play, but women were still always protected and cared for, but they were also controlled to a certain extent, as men were also controlled to certain roles and ideas as well. Like, I do think some of the gender role stuff is real, and there are certain people, and we've come across them, who do think, like, you know, women should stay at home, only have kids, not be in the workplace, like, should, you know.
And the population who think that way is now growing with the hashtag #MeToo movement.
Well, yeah, good job, girls. Thanks for that. All the progress down the drain.
Yeah, we let you into the workforce, and now you're just claiming rape on everyone.
Well, no, but there are, okay, not all women are just claiming. There are shitty men out there who do shitty things.
Yes. Normally, I would be incredibly sympathetic to your pleas. Guess what happens when every woman claims that she's been raped 17 times in the last year? I stop giving a shit.
Not every woman. What women is claiming that she's been raped 17 times in the past
Well, how many
year?
hashtag #MeToos are there?
There's a lot of people, and every one of them saying once.
Not once. You should go look through the hashtag #MeToo. Guys, go do the hashtag #MeToo thing. I keep telling you, go do it.
What, they're saying like 7 times, 8 times, 12 times? Unless they're poor and living on the streets, I won't believe it.
The stat is that every woman gets raped like once a year.
Every woman gets raped once a
Like
year.
once a year. I don't think the stat is 1 in
Well,
4.
I guess I'm behind
Someday.
on my yearly
I guess
getting
so.
raped.
It's just, I don't know. We got drunk the other day and had sex, so that counts.
Okay.
How many times just this year, 2018, have we gotten drunk and had sex?
I'm not gonna answer that.
Well, there you go.
I don't think you want the
I
public
think
to
you're
know
caught.
that.
I think you're plenty caught up. I think you're plenty caught
Not
up.
enough, but to be honest, it's not enough.
I know. Hashtag me too, guys.
But no, like I still, again, and we talked about this last time, like like most women, and not like violent rape, but have been like at least harassed to some extent.
Harassed is not raped.
But most, like,
Prostitutes, no.
so prostitutes can't get raped.
Prostitutes can get raped. They can get raped after 4 years after the fact that they got paid and willingly
Oh, so
traveled.
you're talking about the actors and actresses.
I'm literally talking about the prostitutes that came out against Harvey Weinstein and said, I did the blah, blah, blah for him and hashtag me too. And you go, you got paid to do that and you agreed to do it. And then they flew you in to America from Germany or some shit like that. Or maybe he flew in from America to Germany to have her jerk him off or whatever the fuck. I'm like, literally her statements were like hashtag me too, but they weren't even rape allegations. They were just like, he made me do weird things.
I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that all of those stories are authentic, but I'm sure a lot of them are. Hashtag not all. Hashtag not even
not
majority,
all.
maybe. But... And I don't think, like, you live in a rape culture because there's things that, like, again, that doesn't make it, like, nobody accepts those things as being okay. Like, nobody, yeah, like, I don't, it's just, they exist. Bad things happen. There's people in the world who, and you are also capable of doing bad things. You never know. You might be put in a position and do something horrible.
Probably tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll run some kids off the road.
I was watching the Amazon serial killer guy.
Mm-hmm. How is that show?
It's really interesting. I kind of want to get to the more modern ones because I still have this belief that I don't think serial killers exist anymore.
Didn't people like fill an entire chat room full of modern day serial killers, like people that are currently alive now in North America?
They're saying they're not active. They're past serial killers that just haven't been caught and might still be out there. But I just think, like, especially with most of these cases with the forensic evidence, I don't know. I just think it's. But they were talking about this one guy who molested over 400 children, kidnapped, violently raped, and strangled over, like, and murder. This was like murder, like not even like just like serial, like over like 40, and even now he's still in jail and they're still attaching more bodies and incidences to this one guy. He still won't until you put the DNA evidence in front of him. He still keeps saying, because somewhere in the back of his head he still thinks that he can get parole apparently, according to that.
I wouldn't put that on people, but I mean, like, why would you? He doesn't seem like the type that wants to get caught or wants more acknowledgement of it. But if they can DNA link him,
once they DNA link him, he fesses up. But until then, he like refuses to.
So for each one.
Yeah, that's when he fesses up. But in the other ones, like even like he refuses to like give like families closure. Like he's supposed to be. I forget his name. It's the second episode of the Amazon serial killer thing. Or maybe it's Netflix. Sorry, not Amazon. It's Netflix. It was on Netflix. But anyways, yeah, this guy was like the full-on sociopath who just enjoyed watching people suffer type of people, which I just don't think exists. Like, I don't believe that there's maybe no, that's not true because I can see it happening in like ISIS, for example. But no, they're doing it for like a belief and ideology. It's not about. It's not about enjoying.
Do you shoot multiple people in the head in a video? For the ideology of it.
In a video?
Have you not watched the ISIS video? ISIS recruitment videos?
Oh. Yeah.
Yes, you have, or yes, you haven't.
No, I mean, yeah, you do it for what you believe in. That's the only time people do the craziest shit. Didn't we just talk about Zimbardo and the Stanford prison experiment?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I
People
guess we
will do
did.
fucked up things if they believe it's justified. You will if I brought someone in front of you right now and said this person is X, Y, and everything that you hate about a human being, without you even necessarily being sure that all the things that I'm saying are true, would do horrible things to that person. If I just
I don't think so. I think I'll do
most
horrible things. Look. I never denied the fact that I probably could do horrible things to a person.
you just have
I
to find the right reasons to, right? Give the
No,
person the right reasons to, and they'll
I
do
don't have the
it.
right. Okay, obviously the right reasons to do the right thing, but this is how the slippery slope aspect of postmodernism goes. It's you can have a moral like I could set a morality for myself where I would not torture or would not kill, and then someone keeps sitting there and giving you different scenarios until you say yes, this is one under which I would fucking torture and murder and just whatever. But like, does that mean that nobody has any morals at all?
No, but
Or does that
usually
mean that everyone just has a breaking point?
most people have a breaking point, and they're usually driven to that point in order to enact these. But like this again, like so we talk, like so I don't know, like if you it's the Stanley Milgram experiments with the shock experiments. Like if you go, it's fascinating because if you go back and you look at those experiments, there's the pictures and they have like the charges, right? And so they literally had like XXX on it, and so it's not really connected to a real person, but the person who's pressing the button doesn't know that, and so it would say XXXX danger, right? And they would have the guy in the other room screaming, I have a heart condition, like please, please stop, I can't, I'm good, like please stop. And some guy in a lab coat standing there is saying it's important for the experiment that you continue. Majority, over 70%, and they re-replicated these experiments recently. And especially when you take distance away, so it was a lot harder when the person was right in the same room, but if they were in a separate room, not so many of the people went to like lethal amounts where they would have killed someone if this was real. And one of the reasons that
XXX is not a legitimate counter for
right, but they didn't.
voltage,
I
amperage,
understand
any
in the
form of
context of when
electricity.
that original happened, they had 100 watts. Fine, whatever number they put in, it wasn't.
What, like a light bulb?
Look, they had a
No, I
dial.
know how dials work.
Right, and so so at the end of it, it was
literally an electrician.
right, and at the end of the dial, it was danger and high and danger was on it. But just because someone in a lab coat was telling them to continue, they continued.
I know the experiment. I know how it
Right.
works.
So I'm saying people can do horrible things under certain circumstances.
The trick is they didn't.
But they did.
But they didn't.
They didn't know that they weren't actually hurting
But
somebody.
that means they never did it.
Right, but they
The experiment shows that they can, but they didn't.
but they didn't. Oh, okay. Now we're going to just talk in circles. Sure, fine. They didn't actually, but the reason that that experiment is unethical now is because of the turmoil that they on those participants. People got sick afterwards, feeling horrible for what they had done because they thought they had actually hurt people. But they still had gone there anyways under the context of it. And that's why ethics laws won't pass anymore, and that's because people were like it was awful for them to had gone that far.
I don't get ethics laws.
You can't hurt people for the sake of science. You can't
But
cause
most
harm.
science hurts people.
Wow, you're very nihilistic tonight.
A little bit, but it's true. It's not like science arbitrarily just ignores this whole aspect. Every form of gene therapy, gene manipulation we came up with, we've also used it to create viruses to kill people.
Okay, just again, same thing. Internet, guns, knives. People use it to do bad things. People use it to do good things. Should we take it away?
I'm not advocating for anything tonight. I'm just existentially exploring the psyche. No,
Should I get the other beer?
no, it's been an hour.
Okay.
We can. I got work. I got work in the
Okay.
morning now.
I think it's a good place to wrap up then.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching this far into it. I'd like to thank all of my Patreons and my supporters, specifically those who actually donate money. Ezekiel, Kat, who else? Uh, Bearded, Caustic Dreamer, and Russell. But the different levels. And Varen for doing all my art for me. And all the graphics and all the fun stuff you guys look at. Thanks. Click on one of the other buttons. I'm sure one of the other buttons will take you to something interesting. Click them. Click them.